I'm never sitting courtside. Shit happened so quick and felt like there was no time. Body was programmed just so it's me on go time. I thank the clouds that I'm free. This ain't shit that all the homies can be. Running from the lights, slip and get up. Thinking about the bullshit, leading right up. Mama told me one day you run out of luck. Now I'm looking up, quick tail catching up. Born into that trench mine, niggas had no straight mind. Only thing we know is break a bitch and push that bread line. Head be filled with crazy shit like shorty, had my head tied like bitch. You know you ain't coming to me about no bedtime. Ain't no keep it real, I really feel like the pressure is really on me. I know pressure is a bitch, but I don't let feelings control me. I know I've been getting cold and my niggas was flaking on me. So I had to bet some bridges at some parties. But don't blame me for it, don't blame me for it. I'm too cheap for it. Just watch me going, no brakes, just keep top speed flooring. Bless me, test me, line me up, I know that I'm the next thing. Praying so don't catch me and arrest me. Hope that every night I make it in my best sleep. I hope I'm never sitting courtside. Shit happened so quick it felt like there was no time. Body was programmed just so it's me on go time. I thank the clouds that I'm free. This ain't shit that all the homies can be. I hope I'm never sitting courtside. Shit happened so quick it felt like there was no time. Body was programmed just so it's me on go time. I thank the clouds that I'm free. This ain't shit that all the homies can be. Running from the lights, slip and get up. You ain't about the bullshit, leading right up. Mama told me one day you run out of luck. Now I'm looking up, control catching up. Alright, I ain't resist, but don't take my chain. No, you can't search my shit. Know how it goes. These just praying that shit. Give me my chance before my grave is dig. Bless me.
YGF beats, baby.
Elevate my hustle, gotta get your stress. Cause you the kind of girl I wanna make to my wife. Ain't no point that anyone can make a know that ain't right. They can't tell me how I feel or what could be in my life. For all the minds I kill, told you many times you really mine for real. Cause something about your eyes always shine for real. Stick it out with me as you gon' sign the deal. For all the minds I kill, told you many times you really mine for real. Cause something about your eyes really shine for real. Stick it out with me as you gon' sign the deal, yeah. Little crazy light, baby, feeling on her lately. Heavy on my mental, so I'm in a booth for wavy. See me, I don't give a fuck, I'm open, I ain't shady. These niggas see it, so they hating. Sipping bottles again, dugging all of the feds. Putting loads inside the cover, we ain't splitting no bread. Getting all these different fabrics off your neck and your head. Hope that karma ain't gon' get me for what's coming ahead. My baby says she wanna love song. 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 I'ma sing her this love song. Sing her this love song. Yeah, I'm singing to elevate my hustle, gotta get your stress. Cause you the kind of girl I wanna make to my wife. Ain't no point that anyone can make a know that ain't right. They can't tell me how I feel or what could be in my life. For all the minds I kill, told you many times you really mine for real. Cause something about your eyes always shine for real.
Oh, God. What's up, Carlos? Original Intellect, Denise, Bridget, Williams, Hey Lou, Naeem, Sammy, Alisa. What's going on, y'all? Oh. Battle music, give me a little energy. along with the water. I think we have an interesting topics today. Mm. Shout out to everybody watching. Y'all know, smash the like button. How's everybody doing today, though? Is everybody okay? I'm okay. Hey, Copper. Hello. So I'm not going to hold long. I'm not going to try to be on here that long. Well, you know how that always ends up. But I hope everybody's doing all right. You know, we getting ready to go into a whole nother year. I don't even remember. This year went by so fast. I'm not ready for the snow, but I don't miss the humid weather. I'm so not ready for no snow. I'm really not. I'm not in the mood for no snow. And my New Year's resolution is I got to start eating better. I do. Hey, Kelly, I got to start eating better. I do. And I got to stop smoking. But I got to start eating better. And I'm starting my brisk walks, which is real helpful to me. It's really helpful. It makes a big difference when I do my little walk around my block. Um, I get, the blood circulating real good in the head. And then I come back and do my work, Yeah. But I hope everybody's all right. So I really want to get into, and this is a good question. Hey, Kahi, this is really a good question. Right, Kelly? I know. Might never matter. I want to know, since the Republicans have been out of office for so long, not holding since I think 2017 to 2019 was the last time they held um, office in Congress at the federal level. And that was only for 2 years. But now that they have a lot of us supporting them this time around, and they have some really great core goals, Trump does. And my thing is, after, not being able to hold control for so long in the House and Senate, will they do the things necessary to keep the favor in the hearts of the people? That's going to be very important because a lot of us looked at Trump's core goals and said, okay, all of these goals will work. And we, the people, want to know if you really want to keep the Republican Party in power. You know what we went through with the Democrats since 1865, since the Revolutionary War. Now we actually have a chance of having a Republican controlled Congress, federal level. And my thing is, are they going to, be in the favor of the people and not lose that power and risk losing the power in Congress by not hearkening to the voice of the people? I'm looking at them goals, those core goals that Trump have, and I really want to see them in action. And if they let us down, then we go back to the same old crap again. So we're really America said, you know what? I'm tired of Republicans. Let's give the Republicans a chance. So we want the Republicans. We want the Republicans to stick to their word. And I think if the Republicans stick to their word, they will have the favor, continue to have the favor of the people. That's all. We couldn't get the Democratic Party to do it. So now we have the Republican Party. We said, you know what? We've been so brainwashed and so controlled by the Democratic Party, and it hurt a lot of us. Their management, everything has just been really bad. And now we have the Republicans in. I would think that a party finally said, we finally have control and power. I would think that the Republicans would say, you know what? If we're going to keep this position, the power, if we want to hold the power, we have to listen to the people. Are they going to do that, or are they going to fail us? Is the question. We'll know, because we're all going to be watching and checking off those core goals. And that's a fact. But I want to get into the slides, and I'm just going to get it popping. And that's the major question. Will the Republicans maintain the people's favor? Should the people create a state or a town? And we'll ask those questions why. Now, when I'm speaking more so for all communities and particular parts of this segment. But the first part is my teaching, the people in my community across the states. And then at the end, you'll see where it just applies to everybody. But this is just my way of getting them unindoctrinated from the Democratic rule. It's like an empire went down. That's what it felt like when Trump came in office. The Democratic empire went down. So now it went down. We have to focus on getting our people undoctrinated from all that rhetoric, from all those years. And it's been since 1865. Now we got to wake up, because since 1865, nothing really worked for you. So let's just revisit a few things and then move on to other very interesting questions, that are being raised. So the last time the Republican Party, the GOP, controlled the Senate, House, and presidency was from January 20th, 2017 to January 3rd, 2019. So now, as this pertains a lot for my people across the 50 states, mainland Indians, not from outside the boundaries of the United States. I'm talking mainland Indians, North America, my people. Now, the Indian Removal Act of 1830 gave the president power to negotiate removal treaties with Indian tribes living east of the Mississippi. Under these treaties, the Indians were to give up their lands east of the Mississippi in exchange for lands to the west. And now, those Indians that wanted to stay, wanted to remain in the east, they would just become citizens of their home state. And a lot of this is, we didn't experience this, but our ancestors did in 1830. So I just want to educate our people, because all our people here is a Kunta Kinte story from Roots, which does not apply to any of us. This is how bad they lied about our history. And you're going to see why. So the Civil Rights Act, we went over a little bit, and we're going to touch again on Sunday, myself, Copper, and Irma. But I just want to reiterate that during the Reconstruction time, which was in 1866, Congress passed several statutes aimed at protecting the rights of formerly enslaved, many of them over the veto of President Andrew Jackson. One such law was the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Mind you, Democrats opposed this, which declared that all people born in the United States, were U.S. citizens and had certain inalienable rights, including the right to make contracts, to own property, to sue in court, and to enjoy the full protection of federal law. Okay? Because now, remember, in 1830, they told us as Indians that we would automatically become citizens if we didn't leave and go to the lands of whatever, Oklahoma, if we didn't go. And if we stayed, we would automatically become citizens. But that was in 1830, like 30 years earlier, we were supposed to be citizens. But something happened, which was the Civil War, because a lot of our ancestors didn't want to go. And also in 1830, when they made us automatically citizens because we stayed, the laws were not being applied to us. The states were very ugly to us, for us that didn't go. Because as far as they was concerned, get away, go in your own government in Oklahoma, goodbye, capiche. And those of us that stayed, these are the laws they had to pass on the federal level, because the individual states was not respecting the Indians. So the rights that we were granted, number one, United States was a country. It was the 13 colonies at one point. And then with our ancestors joining the Union and becoming full-fledged states. All right. All that had all took place. But there was still something wrong. The states weren't personally recognizing us with the fact that, you know, even though we're from the land, but we were born in the state, which is still on the North American soil. Rights that we had were not being respected, and they still don't to an extent today. Certain inalienable rights. We weren't respected for contracts to be made, owning property, to sue in court, and to enjoy the full protection of federal law. The Act gave U.S. district courts exclusive jurisdiction over criminal cases related to violations of the Act, and concurrent jurisdiction, along with the circuit courts, of all civil and criminal cases affecting those who were unable to enforce in state court the rights guaranteed by the Act. So you understand that, right? Yeah. Even though we were automatically made citizens in 1830 because we chose not to go, we automatically became citizens, but we weren't enjoying the rights. The Civil Rights Act began a gradual transformation of the federal courts into the primary forms for individuals to enforce their constitutional and statutory rights. They had to pass this because the states, like I said, it would be hell. This is one of the reasons why I said it would be hell if we got rid of the federal government, which is Congress. We need that there because this is a way of Congress checking the states at the door. When individuals need to go federal, the states still don't respect you a lot. That's why you have mass incarcerations. So, yeah. Everybody with me on this? Give me a 1. Y'all with me? Either there's a delay or y'all hear me. So okay, I'm starting to see it now. So at the federal level is the level that really helped us as Indians. Now, during the Civil War, they were seized lands. Now, in the southern states, and I just thought this was interesting. So I just, because so many of our families were throughout South Carolina, so many Indian tribes are out there that are not recognized. But during the Civil War, I took a note of the lands that were seized here. So Castle Pinckney, it was seized in South Carolina. It was seized by South Carolina militia after the state ceded from the Union in 1860. Fort Sumter, seized by Confederate troops, okay, in 1861. United States Arsenal at Charleston. These are lands that were seized. Fort Johnson, seized by the Confederates. Port Royal. Yeah, these lands were seized. In addition, let's see, General T. Sherman issued Special Order number 15 in 1865, which confiscated a strip of coastline from Charleston, South Carolina to St. John's River in Florida. The land was redistributed. Listen, the land was redistributed to newly freed Black families. Now, we didn't use that terminology back then. Back then, we used color. So the land was redistributed. They seized it, all that land, and redistributed to newly freed Black families. You could say Indian families, but you'll come to know that in a little bit. So now we know about the radical members of the South Carolina legislature. You know, a lot of history in which they don't teach. You never know. See, the sad part is our people, really believing that their only history was slavery and they were just terrible people. That's all we ever learned was bad things about our history, which is sad. This was the legislator in South Carolina in 1878. And when that same picture that I just showed you, these are all the names. So, this is in South Carolina legislator at the local state level. And if you look at these last names, some of you, these are your grandparents. When you do your genealogy, you might find one of them on your tree because this is in 1878. And literally, if you look at these last names, Dunsbury, McKinley, Dixon, Wilder, Hoyt, Randolph, Harris, Mays, Lomax, Jackson, Webb, Thomas, Bosman, Tomlinson, Wright, and the guy Wright afterwards, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the state. Okay, DeMars, Brody, Hayes, Kane, Maxwell, Martin, Cook, Miller, Rivers, Duncan. Some of us are related to these folks in South Carolina. They could be your great grandfather, like your fourth or fifth generation grandfather. Yeah, or your uncle, or somebody. That's why you need to do your genealogy so you can know who your peeps are. Sancho, I have a tribe member who is related to Sancho. Literally. Sanders, Knuckles, all these last names, Nash, Mobley, Lees, Smith. Some of us are related to these people. May they rest in peace. And they're Indians. They were colored. They were not no Africans. Now, the question I have, this is in 1878. Okay. Mind you, and this was in 1872. This is at the federal level. These were the first colored senators. Not African, colored. This is in 1872. And the other one was 1878. So the question I have, which is like really weird, and if you blow this up, you can look at the last names of these gentlemen. They could be related to you too. Our families have been so dismantled, we don't know who the hell we related to, who we are. But the question I have, which is really interesting, This was in 1872, 7 years after slavery. And if you look at the top, I wrote 1872. They're sitting on Congress. All right. Slavery was just 7 years ago. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me that these coloreds are so highly educated that they're congressmen and senators? Something's wrong with the story of our history. You're just supposed to be this dumb Indian that don't understand nothing. Yeah. You have a Supreme Court justice, which I just showed you, in South Carolina. And you have these congressmen 7 years after slavery. Wait a minute. I thought they was dumb and all they did was pick cotton. This is why I want my Democratic brothers and sisters to open their minds and get off the Democratic butt. Everybody that's the Democratic and brown skinned is not you. Okay? These people that you see sitting on these legislators are our families. They're Indians. They're coloreds. If they was Africans, believe me, they would have said, oh, the first African congressman. No, they're saying that today because they want to put that label on them because the ignorance. They never wanted to recognize the darker Indian, the full-blood Indian. But that's all good. That's cool. You're going to come to learn that too. Oh, they had it was a hot mess. After slavery, this is what they were saying after slavery, okay, was free, and they established the Freedmen's Bank. Hey, Demeter, making money. These little articles: support Congress and you support the Negro. That was an article. Support Congress and you support the Negro. Congress is federal level, y'all. Give me a 1. Federal level. If you support Congress and you support the Negro, support Congress and you support the Negro. Sustain the president and you protect the white man. This is a hot mess. You see the Freedmen's Bureau up there? Now now you're gonna see why and where Indian not tax was in effect. You just don't know that. And they're not gonna tell you that. I'm telling you because you need to open your brains. This is where Indian not tax kicked in. And you're going to see it. If you've never seen it before, you're going to see it now. Let's get it. So, but before we do all that, we're going to let you know who the Indians is. All right? These are the Indians. Choctaw, Freedmen, bow fishing. Freedmen is just telling you what your position is, your status. You're free. You're no longer under the old government way of life in the South. You Choctaw, but you're freed. You're no longer slaving for your parents or anybody that you was under. You're free. Let's get it. The ones that went in and reestablished those tribes, that some civilized ones, they took over it and made all the black people, okay? Oh, no. Didn't recognize them. Let's get it. Choctaw Freemen outside the home of the Carolina Prince near Oak Hill. Now, Remember that picture I showed y'all, Chickasaw Freedmen? All right. They like to put a story to stuff with the same picture, but they don't give you the original of what was written under it. You see the people sitting at Choctaw Freedmen filing on allotments at Tishomingo. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the word. Now, when you hear allotments, you hear that in the Dawes Rose, right? Land allotments, right? Give me a 1. Give me a 1. Chickasaw Freedmen filing on allotments. Where do you hear allotments at? Land allotments. There's your Chickasaw. Why would they be filing for their land allotments? Because they're Chickasaws. Hey, American ethnics. Let's get it. This is why they don't like me, and I don't care. This is what my channel's about. I just took some pictures off of Library of Congress because that's who they were. Chickasaw Freedmen filing on allotments. Freedmen camped at Fort Gibson before enrollment with the Dawes Rose. I told y'all, I'm not playing. I'm not playing today. I am not playing. Freedmen dance during enrollment for the Dawes Commission in Fort Gibson, Indian Territory. Why would they be enrolling? See, a lot of our ancestors, they could not read, but then some that just listen. They're being governed, deceitfully governed by other people. Now, had these people right here be alive, they will tell you, I'm Chickasaw, Choctaw. But they don't know what's going on with people writing for them, deceitfully representing them. All they know is they Indians. And what kind? Do you see the deceit in our people? Give me a 1. Do you see how they were deceived out of who they were? They know they Indians, they know they Choctaw, Chickasaw, but they don't understand how that paperwork going. Just like us, a lot of our people do now. When they go into welfare buildings and can't read, you have their right to appeal notice. They got to go to somebody else. That's the same shit for same stuff, just different time. A lot of our people can't read those notices that come in from the state. I remember having to read that stuff for my grandmother and my uncles and aunts because some of them couldn't read as a little 6th grader. So this is the same thing back then. It still happens today. I have friends whose girlfriends was in jail and they wanted to write them a letter, but they couldn't. But they asked me to write it. Could you write it for me? I said, yes, I will. Same thing back then. All they know is they being listed as Indians on the Dawes Roll, but they don't know nothing about, oh, we just putting you as a freeman. We ain't putting you as no real Choctaw. They don't know. But I'll tell you one thing, they're sitting at that table for them allotments. Give me a 1 if you clearly understand that. You have to open your brain and see what was deceitfully done to the Indians. The Dawes Commission enrolling freemen in Fort Gibson, Indiana. 1898. A freedman cabin in Okmulgee Indian Territory. That's in 1898. These are in 1898. Freedmen at Fort Gibson for enrollment for the Dawes Commission. Why they gotta enroll? Because they was Indians. They're freed, but they're enrolling because they believe they're going to be enrolled. That's who they are. They don't know no better. Do you now get it? I need to know if y'all get it. Freedmen outside their homes in Oklahoma Indian Territory, Muskogee Creek, Freedmen, 1898. This ain't no secret. They're no longer slaves for their daddies who was over them in Oklahoma when they went to Indian Territory. They're free from that new way of living. But they still that Indian. You're just a free one. You're not under that system anymore. That's all freedman means, is you're not under that old system. Tallahassee Manual Labor School, 1890. Yeah. Carrie William, a Chickasaw, a freed woman. She just because she's a freed woman doesn't mean she's not a Chickasaw. Yeah, she's free, but she's still a Chickasaw. Adam Grayson's a Creek. He's freed, but that don't mean he ain't a Creek. Caesar Bowlegs, he is Seminole. Just because he's free don't mean he's not a Seminole. He's still a Seminole. Under the old system, he was an enslaved Indian. But now he's free from that old system. Now do you get it? Claude Hall. He's Chickasaw. Indians enslaved Indians. After the war, nobody's a damn slave. Even if you was Indian. Government made sure of that. Just because you're freed from slavery doesn't mean you're not still that Indian. He's still a Chickasaw. He's still a Seminole. He's still a Creek. Facts. Ain't nothing changed. Salt Creek School for Muskogee freedmen. They're freed from being under the old system, freed from being an Indian enslaved. But that don't take away the fact that you're not a Creek Indian. Look at the freedmen and the freedmen, a Chickasaw, and a little baby, little cute little baby. And he got a car. Don't play with me. He got a whole horse in the car. Wait a minute. Somebody, my Dane Calloway voice, been lying. This Chickasaw is driving his car from back during that time. He got a vest on and everything. Do he look like he a damn slave? I'm keeping it a buck. Seriously. Give me, do he look like he a slave? Yes or no? Chickasaw. Ay, 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 ay. So now you're going to learn about Indian not taxed. Today's that day. Because it was in effect. You're going to learn today. The Freedmen Bureau consists of Indians that was not taxed. And I'm about to show you why. The U.S. Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands, or the Freedmen's Bureau, these are all the different names they were called, was created by the United States government to assist former slaves. Who were the former slaves? The Indians. They were enslaved under that crazy system. The Bureau was established in the 11 rebel states, 3 border states, Washington, D.C., and an Indian territory in March 1865. Now, it ceased to exist in the summer of 1872. They stopped it. During its operation, the Bureau provided resources for coloreds, including legalizing marriages, reuniting family members, and recording genealogical information. In Indian Territory, agents of the Freedmen's Bureau experienced difficulties. Freedmen in the territory generally had close relationships with the tribes. When new treaties were negotiated with the tribes after the Civil War, the Bureau ceased operations, therefore cutting funding for education and assimilation efforts. And the reason why it failed, it was lack of funding. Now, listen, y'all, lack of funding. Congress didn't provide enough funding for the Bureau, and the Bureau's funding from rent and confiscated lands was limited when President Johnson pardoned most planters in 1865. Understaffing. The Bureau was undermanned with no more than 900 people working for it at any given time. Racist violence. Bureau offices were targeted by racist violence. Strained resources. The Bureau's strained resources made it difficult to force compliance. Listen. Here we go. White Southerners' opposition. The majority of the white Southerners did not support the Bureau's efforts. Ambivalent white Northerners, many white Northerners were ambivalent toward the Bureau's goals. Lack of land ownership. The Bureau failed to secure significant amounts of land for the freedmen, which prevented them from achieving economic independence. Continued white supremacy. The lack of property ownership by freedmen ensured continued white supremacy, especially in the South. Now, listen. The bank was created when the United States was struggling to establish a banking system, and it did not have effective regulatory structures in place. The Freedmen's Bank was not a commercial bank, as it did not give out loans. The bank, which was federally chartered, was not linked to the government, and the deposits were not guaranteed. Misleadingly, it was advertised as established by the authority of the United States government for the benefit of the freedmen, often with the American flag and bearing the names of prominent government officials. The advertisements preach about the benefits of the work and to warn against using money for drinking and lottery tickets. In 1874, because of mismanagement, fraud, and the aftermath of the Panic of 1873, Freedmen's Bank closed, leaving many depositors in financial ruin. Frederick Douglass had been brought on as the bank's director to steady the ship before it collapsed. Office of Commissioners of Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company paid to the order of Arthur A. Baker 16 cents. That's, when they can go on withdraw money. Now, y'all learn it. All this money that was being deposited, it listen, hold up. Let me just keep going. In the Freedmen's Bureau, you see the white Southerners fighting against the black ones, okay, the Indians, okay, all right, because these Indians was getting money off of their tax dollars, for real, because it was Indian not taxed. Hold up now, this is in 1868, and they was pissed because the Constitution said Indians not taxed. This, y'all gotta listen. Hold up. Let me go back. They fought because the money that was going in the bank, it wasn't connected to nothing. This was a bank set up for these Indians. You call them freemen, to what you want, but they was fighting. That's why they had articles such as this, because the government was taking their tax money to care for these Indians. Wait a minute. Let me get it back. Right here. Congress. That's at the federal level. And in the Constitution, Indian not taxed. They wasn't taxed. And they was pissed. That's how they was getting money. It wasn't connected to nothing. Do y'all understand that? They was getting clothing, shelter, food, and everything. Say like it was like a welfare system back then, but wasn't a welfare system. Their lands that they had, being rented out and stuff, or whatever, the government took control of the abandoned lands and stuff. And that from the government renting out those lands and stuff, that's where the money was going. Do y'all understand this? I swear, you need to understand this. I need y'all to understand this. The lands that they was taking off of and all of that stuff, the government seized all that land and rented it out. And the deposits was from the proceedings, some of it from that land. I need to know you understand. Oh, good. I'm glad you do. That's where you get the Indian not tax. It wasn't off their tax dollars. It was the proceeds from the renting out of the land. Good. I'm telling you. Let's get forward. Where did we leave off? They was pissed. That's why they was fighting. So, I'm gonna take this off for a second. You really have to understand that's what they the money that was going in the Freedmen Bank was the money that the government was getting for renting out those lands. You call them abandoned lands and all that other stuff. So that these people could be taken care of, because we didn't have a fiat. That's Indian. We didn't have a fiat system. So because the federal government was getting money, it was people's assumption. Look, you're not going to be getting food and shelter and schools off my tax dollars. A hot mess. Not sure Indian they was getting it. Indian not tax. Now today, since the states are truly united, everybody get welfare. They said the hell with that Indian not tax. Everybody getting it. If it's their tax dollars, everybody's going to benefit off of it. But before there was even a welfare system created, that was Indian not tax. Back then. Now do you see? That's why you have federal programs like food stamps, like Section 8. Those are federal programs. But at that time, back then, it was only applying to the Indians because you couldn't tax the Indian on their own land. But with fighting and Congress and courts saying, well, they're citizens now, they got to be the same as us. Now, do you understand? And in that time, our people were in Congress. Okay, so now, should the people create more states, municipalities, territories, or a government? I'm saying this. Hell no. A government, if you create a government, a full-fledged government, let me take this down for a minute. If you think you're going to create a full-fledged government, right, like lateral to the United States, the minute you start thinking you could do that, you are the enemy of the United States. You are. Yeah. Yeah. United States still governs Indian land. You're an enemy. Now, I say don't do it because you're going to lose. United States government can blow up whole towns, can blow up. You be gone. Don't do it. That's my recommendation. But a lot of y'all pookies think y'all know what y'all doing, so go ahead on. I'd say it's better to either create a state or a town or a territory. Because if you create a state, you fall under the admissions clause. You can be admitted as a 53rd state, but there's a process for that. I think it's a little bit more easier to create a municipality than it would be a state. But a state would be very ideal for, but our people are so not on the same page. I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't. Creating another. Now, I say the most favorable would be, I'm just crossing out creating a whole nother government like the United States. Good luck. A 53rd state for our people, my people would be really great. And I'll tell you why. A state, because you can be admitted, you got to go through a process for that, though. But I say it because of poor representation at the state and federal level, meaning local, state, and senators and representatives, and in Congress. We haven't had any representation, real representation. Okay. I think it would be necessary. And after all we go through, it's never going to change. We would literally have to create our own 53rd state in order to have a seat in Congress and have our own legislative body in an effort to be heard, because we've been silenced from being heard for a long time. Only foreigners are being heard, not those Indians that were freedmen, the real Indians of the land. Foreigners are heard that look like us, but not the real. There's a difference. You have real Indians from this land. And the only way you can be heard is to be admitted, in my personal opinion, and all the stuff that goes on is by the creation of a 53rd state. And you don't want everybody in your state. But you would have to go, when you create your 53rd state, you have to, we're going to go through it. I think a state would be ideal. It should be a long-term goal. Okay. I do. Because to be heard for the future generations, you need your own state government, literally a state. And to be admitted, because everything walking around here running for office, if you want the real effect of you being heard and represented, we have to create a state. We're not the what I call you. We're not the illegitimate, people that our ancestors were back then. The ones called freedmen's that didn't understand or whatever. Today, we're a lot more educated. And in order for us to be heard, we have to be representative of ourselves. You should be tired for looking for people to represent you. Us. It's been since 1865, since Indian not tax stopped. Proper representation. Yeah. We need a whole another state. We need our own state because we need our own representatives assigned that we can vote in ourselves. Yeah. That would be a long-term goal. A short-term goal is creating another town, municipality. That would go faster than a state. But a state should be the long-term goal, to become a 53rd state. Because the same people sitting in Congress, oh my God, there's people that have been sitting there since the damn 70s. And it's disgusting. Oh, damn. I had that whole thing up. And I did read this in Louisiana. They created their own city. And you know what? I salute them. And at this point, I don't, these times versus back then, today, I don't blame them. I really don't. I don't blame them for moving. I don't care. I salute them. And this really shows how they stick together. I so salute them. And I don't care if nobody don't like it. I don't. Because I don't want to live around people either. I'm serious. That don't want to do right and be right. I'm serious. I'm not even looking at that from a racist perspective. I'm not, and I won't. Not in these times today. They create their own town. And I don't blame them. That's what we need to do when it comes to getting away from these horrible politicians in our inner city. Get away from it and create your own town and put somebody else in there to represent you. And I don't blame them for doing that. I so salute them for doing that and taking my damn kid away from some old wild ass Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I wouldn't want to live around them either. I'm serious. I would move and create my own damn town. And I don't blame them. I'm sorry. I don't. I'm going to show the video of this fair use because I do not blame them. Oh, this is the wrong thing. Let me get this over here. I'm going to play it. Let me do a share screen. Fair use. I salute these people.
And thank you for joining us for our second half hour, The Factor Uncensored. The headlines from the national media are eye-grabbing at best. Wealthy white Louisiana residents split from Baton Rouge to form their own city. But is race a real issue at the core of this municipal secession? The 86,000 residents who are forming their own city in St. George, Louisiana, say it's about better schools for their children and better city services. Baton Rouge is more than 50% black, and those who are against a split say the city will be hurt by this action to create a new city, which was approved by the Louisiana State Supreme Court last Friday after a 5-year-long battle. And joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight, we have with us Eugene Collins, who's the former president of the NAACP in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Eugene, you guys have quite a situation there with St. George, the community now breaking off, becoming its own city after the Louisiana Supreme Court approved it. So what do you think this will do to the city of Baton Rouge?
It's confusing, right? When you look at it just on the surface, there's so many unknowns to the city of Baton Rouge. So already what it has done is severely confuse the residents. And the biggest concern that I've seen so far is about where do people send their kids to school, right? Because you have a ton of folks that live in that area that if a new school district is established over the next 2 years, I mean, you got some legacy things, the folks that might have went to some of the inner city Baton schools that now maybe have to go to school in St. George, and those families are up in the air. So what is already caused, in my opinion, is severe confusion. And I think some of the dangers of it futuristically is you continue to further divide an already highly racially charged area. And that just can't be good for the city of Baton Rouge overall and over time. But at the same time, I want to acknowledge that these folks are organized. They went out and got the votes. They raised money to continue their legal battles. And they went through a democratic process to get this city established, for which, you know, I understand democracy and I understand that's the way that government is supposed to work. But at the same time, it's a dangerous notion, I believe, for the city of Baton Rouge to split at any level with the current environment that we have.
And of course, for those who are wondering, how did we get here? You look at the New York Post, you look at the Daily Mail, and the headlines show mainly white, wealthy community pulls out of Baton Rouge, starting their own city. Would that be accurate? And what is the reasoning behind pulling out of Baton Rouge from your perspective and what you know?
Well, when you look at the basis of what they have publicly said about their argument to separate from the city of Baton Rouge, it's been based around better schools, right? Which in itself on its face doesn't make a ton of sense, right? Because you have some people that have supported this movement that have held hold seats on our school board, right? And it's supposed to be their job to improve schools. So that notion in itself is kind of contradictory to what we see on his face. Not to mention, when you look at the makeup of the organizers and you don't have any people of color amongst them, it's hard not to make the assumption that this is something that might be racially driven. But at the same time, I have to be honest and say that the rhetoric, the narrative that they have pushed has been about better schools. But I don't see how separating our district or separating the school district can create better schools.
But so right now, the Supreme Court has only approved the city, creating a city. You're not at a school district yet. And much of this still may be down the road in building the process.
Much of it may be down the road, but there are already House bills that's been put forth to bring about the things that are necessary and needed to ensure that this city gets its own school district. Not to mention that the various things that have been done to improve the district in that region already. This city is paid for, right? Not to mention when you look at how the plan on supporting themselves, it's pulling a lot of the resources and the tax bases from Baton Rouge, stuff that is being used to keep our city stable, right? So
I think Sharon Weston Broom, the mayor there, said the city of Baton Rouge could lose at least $46 million annually as a result of this.
At least, and probably more, right? So when you take all that into account, this is going to hurt the underserved. This is going to be paid for on the backs of poor Black folks, right? Because when you think about Baton Rouge, people always assume that folks that look like me that live in certain communities don't pay taxes. And that's very far from the truth. We are property owners where everything else in our tax dollars go towards making this city a stable place to live. And when you do something like this, you put all of that in jeopardy, right? And it continually affects people that look like me in certain communities. And that's sometimes what folks don't understand, even the folks that look like me, right? Because my kids, they're going to be fine, right? I'm going to be fine. I'm an educated Black man that makes a certain income level, right? But it's the folks that are just on that line, right? That live in certain communities that are just on that line. They're going to feel the brunt of this impact. And largely, man, they don't even understand what's going on because of the information that's rolled out, which is really the rough part.
All right. Eugene Collins, former president of the NAACP in Baton Rouge. We appreciate your time. And thank you for bringing us the latest and the details on this out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Thank you, sir. Now, Andrew Morrell, attorney and spokesman for St. George, says this to Fox: St. George was a lawful election. The Supreme Court upheld the incorporation based on facts, evidence, and testimony. The opposition tries to create a divisive narrative because the facts and law support St. George. Now, this point is very important. Morrell went on to say our area was unincorporated and not part of any city. Baton Rouge never sought to annex our area. We followed the law and created a city where there was none.
Hello. So my thing is, I salute them, and that's to me, don't hate. They pulled away. They got unincorporated land and made it a city. Took the people with them. And I don't blame them. And that's what we should be doing. Moving away from the violence and creating a whole nother town, because nobody's doing anything to stop the crime in the big major inner cities, right? Your kids can't play outside and be happy and have fun like back in the 70s. We was able to jump double dutch in our projects and ain't have to worry about no damn bullets flying over our head. Ain't have to worry about no damn drugs being sold or your kid being enticed at age 12 to sell some damn drugs so they can get a pair of Jordan sneakers. You want to move away from that shit as I'm going to use modern day words, black community. So what do? There's more than 86,000 people that are very good in the hoods that are tired of living like that, living in filth and everything. So what do? Don't bother the drug dealer. Don't bother the gangbanger. Don't bother them. Leave them alone. Leave Pookie and Ray Ray alone. Let them live their life. Lucretia, all of them. Let them be strippers in the hotel and all of that whole nine. What you do, this is called community work. You go and you gather people that have minds like yours. Now, we're not calling the cops on Pookie. We're not going to do nothing to them. We're not going to do nothing to Keisha. We're not going to do nothing to the crackheads and nobody. Let me go around in the community and pick out the people that are willing to move away from all of that and create their own safe municipality. You see how nice the suburbs look with the nice stores? When you go in the suburbs, the dollar stores in the hood, they don't look shit like the suburbs Family Dollar. The suburbs Family Dollar is clean. And in order to get in an environment like that, you have to get away from it. Start from scratch. Leave them all there. Leave them right there. And go, and all the people move away from them. Just like they did. I don't care if you call it a race thing with those people from Baton Rouge, them white people. I don't blame them. And now they have control of an area that they're in, and then they see a decent black family that wants to come in and buy a house on the land. They'll let them in. They're not going to deny you because they see you decent. You're not going to be selling no drugs in their community. But to do it, you got to make the stand. Leave. Don't call the cops on Pookie. You ain't got to do that no more. Just move away from all of them. That's what you do. And leave them right there in the hood. And then they'll be able to see their destruction against each other. And that's going to be real funny because the senators and representatives assigned to them districts going to look real funny going to represent them in their local legislature when they only got like, what, they're going to have 1,000, Pookies and Ray Rays and Lucretias and crackheads to represent. Leave. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with what the white people did. They got the hell away from the bull crap. All right? So now you do the same thing. You got Buffalo Bill coming out here talking about, well, that's really going to be tough on the tax dollars. Oh, well, suck it up. Because that's what you should do. I don't blame not one of those people for moving away from that violent area into a better area so they could raise their families. I would do the same thing. That's how you get the suburbs. You move away from the inner city bullshit. So this is where I step in and say, it's better to create your own town, municipality. Leave them right in the city. And if the people in the city that's that you left behind, okay, they want to wake up and be right and do right, then they'll move out. They'll move. But you're not going to be able to come in nobody municipality acting stupid, because they'll run your ass right back out. So I salute them people. I'm proud of them, because that's something we could do. That's something your church should do. Churches, your black churches with all that money, they could have been did that. Been did it. You know, you don't want to call the cops on Pookie and them because you're going to get killed. I ain't messing with Pookie and Ray Ray. Hell no. I'd rather just pack up and leave. But it would be beautiful if you could pack up and take all the people who don't want drug selling in their community and go and start a whole new another one over again. Leave Pookie and Ray Ray alone. That was a smart move on them. And I don't blame them. See, white people stuck together. That's something you can't do. You just witnessed something you don't do. And you need to go to your pastor, because now your pastor need to watch that video. So they could find something better to do with your tax, your weekly Lord's money, your weekly offerings. Pastor could have been had better communities for y'all, but they knew, you know what? They just no, let them stay in the hoods. You need to get out of them. And it don't have to be just all black people. When you going in the inner cities, all races live in them. There's multiple people that want to get the hell away from the horrible representation of the senators and representatives of the inner city hoods. See, me, if I'm gonna build another create another town or incorporate another town, I'm going to I'm not looking at no damn color. But that was their choice, and so what? They took their families and jetted. And I don't blame them. I salute them from Baton Rouge. But me, because I know that our people don't stick together like that, I'm going I don't give a damn what their color is. If you want to get away from drug shooting cities, I'm knocking on your door. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Puerto Rican. I don't care if you're Mexican. I don't care if you're from India. I don't care if you're from Asia. You want your name on the list? Let's go. Because y'all know all brown folks don't stick together, right? Our people. They're the most let down. They let you down so bad. I'm going for anybody that want to live a comfortable life away from the drug-infested inner city hoods. Knock on their doors. We can get 86,000 quick and incorporate another town to get away from them. And they won't be able to come into our municipal town with that drug bullshit, because we're going to hire police officers that's going to check them at the door when they come driving through our new community established. Oh, yeah. See, when you got the power, you could do that. Oh, where you going? Your name is who? Puka who? Well, you better go back to the hood with your shit. Don't come in here because we taking you to jail. You start it all over. Move away from them. And, you know, that's how my father was, you know, in like relationships. And that's where I get it from. Oh, no, I'm not going to evict you and put you out. I'm leaving. Easier. No arguments, no fights. Nobody got to shoot you. You leave. You can leave the hood. Leave all of them there. Leave the gangbangers and everybody there. You ain't got to take them with you. That'll give them something to think about. Damn, we destroyed our hoods and our people finally jetted up out of here away from us. We ran our people out. We ran our aunties, our uncles, everybody out. Now it's just us. I don't see nothing wrong with that. And I salute them people from Louisiana because it took them a while. And I know it doesn't take that long to get people together. See, when you're dealing with just your own race, that's when it's racist. I don't care. I don't give it. I'm not dealing with my own race. I'm dealing with all because I'm multicultural. But them people, I salute them. All them white people, good. That was amazing. That was sweet, for real. But I know, based on the reliability of the people in my community, I can't just do like what they did, or get all brown people. I know I can't do it because it's based on reliability, and our people are proven not to be reliable, even with the smallest amount of money. I'm going for people that want to get the hell away from the hood and in a better area for their family. And it'll be so quick to set up our own police stations. And other municipalities will help you, with sharing police officers until we get to. Oh, yeah, they will, because they see you want to do good. That's how all of these suburban towns work. They got volunteer firefighters and everything. When they see a community wanting to do something right, they will help you. But at some point, you got to think, you know what? Why take all the inner city bad people with you and bring them into another area just to do the same thing? Don't judge what they're doing. Just get the hell away from them. But see, when it comes to our community, they're non-reliability. They're not reliable. So you have to just go for people that want to get away. There's so many thousands of people that want to get away from the hood that don't indulge in those lifestyles. Yeah. That would be an easy job for us. It's easy. Everybody in the hood is not a criminal and a convict and a gangbanger and a drug addict. And that's a fact. No, we're not calling the cops on you, Pookie. We just gonna leave. That's all. And then they'll see that they have themselves to deal with. We ain't bothering them. Just jet. There's so much land. I'm sorry. I'm just keeping it a buck. Let's see. So let's look at some of the things here. This is about the Baton Rouge family. We just saw the video of that. Now, what gives you the right to if you want to go about making another state, a 53rd state, it's a lot of work. And you have the admission clause is still in effect. You can create another state. See, new states may be admitted by the Congress into this union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states or parts of a state without the consent of the legislators of the states concerned, as well as the Congress. So a state can be, but it's easier to make another town, municipality. Now, to be admitted to the United States as a state, a territory must meet several requirements. Population. The territory must have a large enough population to support its own government and the federal government. Constitution. The territory must create a constitution that establishes a Republican form of government. Meaning you got to have an executive branch, a legislative branch, a judicial branch, and a damn militia. National Guards, whatever you call it. You have to literally look at what an existing state has. Because that was the only way that they were able to be counted as a state. Referendum. The territory's people must vote in a referendum to express their desire for statehood. Congressional approval. Congress must pass a joint resolution to accept the territory as a state. And the presidential signature. The president of the United States must sign the joint resolution. So you got to go through a lot to create a state, because you're talking about a whole state government. Look at your state and its setup. Everything a state has, you got to have. And that's a lot. A lot. But creating a state is tough. Now, municipality, you get approval. Each state has its own rules for incorporating a town. But generally, you'll need to get a petition signed by at least 51% of eligible voters. So in the hoods, you can get 51% quick. Complete an application for forming a town. Get approval from a county judge or state official. Establish a government. You need to choose a form of government, such as a mayor, council manager, commission, or representative town meeting. Yeah. Build infrastructure. You need to build homes, establish essential services like water, electricity, sanitation, and consider the environmental impact. And you got to create laws. You need to establish laws to maintain order and provide services to residents. This is what I'm talking about. I could do this. You can literally go around in your community and you will get 51% of eligible voters' signature to create a town, municipality. That's a fact. I say, if you really want a better life and to really be heard at the federal level and state level, you're better off creating your own town so you can have your own person in your town to run for a legislative senator representative position. That's how it's done, you guys. We got too much work to do to be wanting to be at each other's throats. So the people that argue and fight and threaten, leave them on. Them are the people you don't want in your community when you're going around looking for that 51%. Yeah, when you're incorporating a town. Yeah, you have nice schools and everything. You got to do something to get away from the hell and go and live in a peaceful area of the land. And when a government or neighboring local town sees you really trying, they will help you because they know you're serious. They will help you and they'll work together with you and you become part of them, not saying that they'll take control of your incorporated town, but you work together, doing things together. You meet and you have these consolidated council meetings. Like this town might want to meet, invite this town to meet with their particular municipality, and say, hey, come to our why don't you, we would like to invite you, since you're so close to our town, to our town council meeting where we could express some ideas, where we want our senator that's representing our particular incorporated town and yours can meet, so you could work together and put things on the table. This is like real civilized behavior, you guys, and it can be done. So I think the smartest thing to do would be to incorporate a town, because that's what we did earlier in the 1700s. That's why there's towns named after those black governors, because they literally incorporated towns. So I think that would be the best thing to do. Yeah. Yeah, 51% is definitely doable. And you have to have the wisdom, and you got to be very serious. You got to be serious. Everybody that open their mouth to say they serious about it ain't serious. You know how our people do. They always let you down. This is why I can't build nothing just being stuck with just our people. I'm sorry. I want to deal with civil. I don't give a damn what your race is. I want to deal with civil-minded people. Civil-minded people. And that ain't got no race. That there's no race. I'm sorry. It's about wanting a better life for our families. I don't give a damn what the color is. I see how it is just to deal with our people. I get more hurt so bad. And I will not go out like that, being hurt by my people. I just want to deal with civilized people. Color don't mean shit to me. But you got people who just only want to deal with their own people, and that's okay too. I just don't. I like to see the way that this federal government is set up. It's all races of people here. Civil people, period. For real. I ain't got time for that other stuff. I know who I don't want to deal. I do know that I want to deal with people that's like strictly religious and want a cult, develop a cult incorporated town. Oh, hell no. All religions can be, but when it's time to talk business, that got to be set to a side. Don't come trying to throw that other stuff on me. That this is business, and that's all it is. You can go home and pray in your worshiping town. You open up a church in the town. That's your business. You be able to do the normal things that we do. Ain't got nothing to do with it. But when we're in a business meeting, we talking business. I'm not looking for Pastor Parker to preach before we start the business meeting. Oh no. But anyway, I'm gonna open the piano, and I would like to hear your side. For real. I'm gonna open it up for everybody to come up and comment about a municipality. Let me put the link in the chat. I'd like to hear your feedback. All right, I give y'all a few minutes to get on up here. And I'll wait. Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
How you do?
I'm okay.
That's good. That's good. I got a lot of contention. Not a lot, but
Well, that's good as long as you don't talk that paperwork stuff, like the more stuff. We don't do that over here. The anti and all this birth certificate and social security. We don't do that. If it's long as it's on what we're talking about, it's certainly
all
welcome.
myself is Supreme Court stuff.
The Supreme Court.
Yeah, my stuff Supreme.
Okay,
Not no
and
more. That's U.S. national.
oh, okay. So, what about today's segment? Would you like to speak on?
I do Freeman's Bureau and how a government work, and the Freedmen's already established the government. We just haven't redeemed the securities
Oh no,
to
that's the Morris talk. That's the Morris talk stuff. That's crazy.
that's IRS
That
talk.
the bank is closed.
The bank is
The
closed.
Freedmen's Bureau is closed.
No, they use those securities to
Okay.
finance Wall Street. Hello?
Okay. I'm listening to you.
And that's the Social Security system.
Okay. I'm done. Thanks for coming. Okay, for real. It's this is what I'm talking about, y'all. I can't do it and I will not do it. I'm not. I'm not doing it. Today's segment was about the Republican Party maintaining their core goals and should we create states, towns. It has nothing to do with this security stuff. Take that to channels who listen. I don't listen to that crap. Okay. It's uneducational. I mean, if you can't come up, this is the problem with our people. I ain't mentioned nothing about no securities and all of that. They still want to talk about this stuff. They have nothing better else to talk about. You have to go on the channels that like to entertain. For real. And that being said, there's only obviously everybody else is in tune to what I said. Nobody has any questions. It's a great segment to watch over again. Again, I salute those people from Louisiana. That's a great move that they made. I really salute them. That's awesome. That is like the best thing our people in the hoods could do. Yeah, Slide Quest. You got that right. Those clones, Tyrones. And we can leave them in the hood too. All them people talking about the securities and you don't got to drive with your driver's license, all that. We don't want anybody who want to do dumb shit, dumb stuff. This is what I'm talking about. So when you knock on the door and people start talking about that, when you're going around getting the 51% of civilized citizens, those are the doors you just want to keep on walking, politely say thank you, and just keep moving. Those are the ones you want to leave in the hood. Let them keep still trying to figure out about their damn Social Security. All I know is Social Security for is when you retire, and that's what I'm going to use it for. All this other stuff, this sovereign movement, they really are clowns at this point. I can't deal with it. Exactly. When you cash in your birth certificate and your Social Security card, let me know because that's going to be real funny. But anyway, it doesn't seem like anybody else has anything else to add or any questions. And I hope you rewatch the segment again because creating another town, a municipality, is what's going to really get you in a better neighborhood. Seriously. And that's a fact. But there's steps to follow that you got to follow, but it can be done. They did it. They went right to the Supreme Court. That's a whole precedent. They want a better area, a better way of life, getting away. You don't have to call the cops on nobody no more. Just move away from them and take people with your like mind and move in a better neighborhood. And then we could begin to practice, keeping our neighborhoods nice and clean. Like they look in the suburbs. It looks so nice. You don't see no food or nothing thrown on the damn floor in the suburbs. It's clean. You can't get that in any city because any and everything live in it. So you want to be in a community that really reflects yourselves. So until then, you guys, I'm going to get out of here, get my little dinner on. I'm going to watch Smoke Channel later so I can laugh. Because he could go to the Laughy Channel. Rodney, I think you should go to Smoke Channel. It's more comical channel. And they'll listen to you over there with that. It's more of comedy. So until then, everybody have a wonderful evening. I love y'all to the moon and back. And I'll be back.